I'm not even a big water person. I've never swam in the ocean. I don't even kayak anymore because it's hard to get in and out. I think living by water is a reminder of the movement of life and the movement of your own life. And especially here, the tide going in and out and just the peacefulness and sometimes the disturbance it provides is a reflection of your own life. I was laying in bed and I could feel the house shifting from one end to the other, but I felt secure. And I felt secure because I knew the house was well built. So I think it's a sense of security is what I get when I'm sitting or laying or sleeping in this house. Once I had a taste of the East Coast mentality and knowing my friends that have come from Cape Breton over the years, I knew I was going to come to a place where there was lovely people, great scenery, and I had to get out of the city completely and away from Ontario. Most of the history I've discovered, or people driving by will tell me, or the neighbors walking by will come in and explain that they were here as a kid. So what I could figure out so far is this house was built around 1898, built by probably shipbuilders. It's had several families for the last 120 years. I know that because up in the attic, you'll find newspapers glued to the walls from the Boston Globe. And the Boston Globe being it shows the relationship between here, Ile Madame, and the whole East Coast down to Boston and Philadelphia and so forth. When I arrived at this house, I really didn't know what I was getting into. It was a lot smaller than I anticipated. The pictures lied. Counters were up to my knees and it was all little rooms. The house was really small. Okay, the rooms were small. Even going up the stairs was I kept hitting my head. And the first thing I did was cut a hole in the stairwell. I had no idea if the whole thing was going to come flying down. But doing that, it exposed me to how this house was made. It still had its charm. The bathroom upstairs I haven't done much to, except I changed the faucet into a telephone faucet, so you could literally sit there on the nice little bamboo seat that I bought and shower yourself and look out at the view. And when I finally get around to redoing the bathroom, I'll just put in a new I'll keep that feature and put in a new tub and a new window. My favorite view of the house varies. It depends on the time of the day. If I'm watching the tide go in and out, it's obviously the kitchen. However, the sunsets in the summertime are incredible. Unfortunately, my garage blocks it in the kitchen, but out of the dining area, the windows on the side here, it's amazing. The wind that came in here in the winter. So I dealt with that, was opening up and letting the ocean in. If I was going to be in here, I wanted to see the ocean. My favorite room here is probably what I call the ego room. When I moved here, it was a bedroom, a main floor bedroom. And I thought I've been collecting all this stuff from posters in my past life. And if you go in there, you can read what I'm all about off the walls. And it's also the television room. And it's the room where I write and create music and so forth. I also have to say that the kitchen is probably my all-time favorite room. It's where I spend the most time because you can sit there and no matter what the weather is like, you can always see the ocean, the tide coming in and out. When I first saw this house, the thing that attracted me to it were the original spruce shingles that are on the side and that they were natural. not painted, and not covered. Sea air is the most destructive thing around here. It will literally, if you have anything chrome, it will, even in the house, it will rust it. So you got to watch your faucets and everything else. Outside, it will destroy paint. You do not paint anything because sea air will make it buckle. It'll be off and start peeling in a year or two. You can stain, it's a little bit better, but paint, don't. I handmade these pickets out of cheap wood because I wanted to make it look like it had been up for a while. And nothing, it's a little crookedy at certain points, but that's the look I wanted. And it brought the charm, and it's the thing that you draw to when you look at it first is the picket fence around the house. On a nice day, there's nothing like looking down towards the west to the sunset. That's probably my favorite view when I'm outside. One thing about Ile Badan is, first of all, there are no skunks. There are no porcupines, so the dogs are safe. What there is here it's incredible bird sanctuary, it seems like. There's so many birds, and they're singing birds that have tunes that I've recognized, like the Beatles' Blackbird song. You hear it out there. Or you hear the Mozart bird song, you know, the puck, 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 puck. That song, you hear it out in nature. So it's mostly birds. I see herons. They come to, when the tide goes out, you'll see them come in and to feed themselves. There's tons of loons. There's ducks of all sorts. There's everything here, it seems. When I arrived here in Nova Scotia, my broker said, "What are you going to do with your real estate license?" I've always done it as a side gig. She said, "Transfer it to here and I'll give you a couple of deals." Well, since I've arrived here, I have sold real estate all over the province. And I'm telling you this not as a pitch, but as I get to travel all over this wonderful province that has so much variety in its terrain, from the Cabot Trail down through the Annapolis Valley, right to the South Shore, and of course here in Ile Badan. And that's the one thing about Nova Scotia. You can drive to these places, and with an hour, a completely different look. If anybody knows me, they know me with a dog. I arrived here with my 13-year-old bearded collie, Iago. It always traveled with me. So he came here. Unfortunately, he lasted a year and a half and passed away. And he always lived in a doghouse that I built for him outside. Well, I got a new dog, a Portuguese water terrier named Gordy. He needed to be adopted at the age of 8. I brought him back from Ontario at Christmas time, and I thought, well, he'll just take over the doghouse. Well, Gordy does not like the doghouse. He doesn't even like being outside. So I thought, well, what am I going to do with this doghouse? Give it away? No, I turned it into what was needed very much around here, a garbage bin. Because previous to that, I used to have to run out at 7 o'clock in the morning, put the garbage out there, and hope the crows didn't get it before the garbage bin got here. What I really loved about this house when I first arrived, it was raw material, and I saw the possibilities in it. I'm going to put on a new roof eventually. Probably I see a red tin roof of some sort, because every time there's a storm, shingles come flying off of it. And I think I will debate about what I'm going to do with the garage, whether it stays or goes. But I don't want to overdo this house. I don't even know what this house is to be yet. Is this my home for life? I thought it might be a cottage when I first arrived here, but I think I'll want to do some more traveling in the future, so perhaps it'll be a home base. Who knows? I think people are attracted to living by the water. People who come from Ontario because you can't afford to be on the water anywhere else. But that's changing here too. There's not a lot, God only made so much shoreline, and it's getting bought up quickly, but it's still affordable here. Water has a calming effect over people, and I think today, when the rest of the world is falling apart, it brings a peace of mind. And I think that is why everyone should live on the shore, somewhere in the world. If I am out and about, and it's been a hectic day, whether I was out trying to shop or deal with clients or whatever, and it's a hectic day, usually what happens is my shoulders are up here. But once I come to my driveway, my shoulders go down, I look out at the sea, and I am greeted either by a barking dog or an excited dog that's in the car, and that makes me happy, and that makes me peaceful. This house has a spirit, some sort of soul. It's sat here for 120 years. It ain't going nowhere.
Whether nestled alongside a riverbank or perched high above a distressed ocean, living on the shore has its perks. But beautiful views are only the beginning. The sights, sounds, and sensations of the water are constant in their impact, improving moods, perspectives, and lives.